You kept all the wives pregnant so that you could have a whole bunch of sons, and hopefully those sons would be the heirs. If you're going to war every single weekend, you need bodies, and most of your children aren't going to make it. What happened to the females? Does anyone know? I mean, if you get 14 wives pregnant, you're going to have a couple daughters. Does anyone know what happened to those? They were sold and traded. Here's what they were sold and traded for. You would go to your cousin, or hopefully your second or third cousin, and you'd say, would you like some more wives? I've got these daughters, and you give me maybe your daughters, or you give me some rice, maybe like those 2 donkeys or something. We'll work out a deal. Yep. So, why did you go to your second cousin, or your, hopefully not your first cousin, or your third cousin? Why didn't you go to your neighbor? Does anyone know? No, you shouldn't. Not back then. Why didn't you go to your neighbor? Does anyone know? The reason why you didn't go to your neighbor is because in one generation, you'd have to kill your own family. You were at war with all these neighboring clans. And here's the deal. This is what they believed. They believed there's a reason why, if he's a samurai, there's a reason why he exists. See, it wasn't by chance. All of his brothers are dead. And his father, all of his father's brothers are dead. His father's cousins are dead. And his grandfather, they're all dead. And his great-grandfather, they're all dead. There's something that exists within his genealogy, something beautiful. The samurai gene, we'll call it. And they believed that it was through nobility and through noble blood and through noble intention that the race of the samurai, that the noble race of the samurai, was being weeded out. It wasn't by chance that this guy dies. It was because he didn't train enough. It was because, I don't know, maybe his bloodline wasn't strong enough. Now here's the thing. Let's say he lives till 27. Okay, so Rob's alive at 27. If Rob's alive at 27, he's birthed a couple kids. He's still alive. That means that his genealogy is really good. Okay? That means his daughters are worth something. Okay? This is going to be his third cousin. Okay? This is going to be a warring clansman. Okay? All right, well, here's the deal. Does Rob want to give his seed, his offspring, to his enemy so that his enemy can benefit from the birth of his bloodline? Heck no. Oh my gosh, no. Firstly, his children would have to fight each other because then his grandchildren would come after him. And secondly, that's firstly, and secondly, my gosh, that's my blood. That's what my ancestors worked toward, surviving. And we survived for ourselves. We didn't survive to make our enemies more powerful. So there was a lot of inbreeding going on. Why aren't the samurai all two-headed freaks with like all kinds of abnormalities and deformities? Because the first wife owned the rest of the wives. And the first wife owned the children. So the second wife gave birth. Whose child is it? First one. What about the third wife? What about the 14th wife? 14th wife has 14 kids, okay? Guess whose kids they are? The first wife's kids. The first wife came from a very noble place. The second wife came from a very noble place, you know? Oh, my third cousin, man, she's beautiful, and her grandfather was my grandfather, and he was an incredible man, and blah, 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 blah. Now here's the interesting thing. How did they keep from getting super inbred? It was their vacation time. When they weren't killing each other, they went to Korea and they slaughtered Koreans. That's what they did in their spare time. What are you doing? My army's kind of decimated. Used to have 50 people, now I'm like down to 20. We're going on vacation. What are you going to do? You know, go to Korea, they show up, they kill all the guys, and they check out the young looking women. If they look strong, they look healthy, that could be wife number 15. That could be wife number 17. And they would grab the Korean women and they would breed with them. What came from the womb of a Korean woman was 100% Japanese. Why? Because it was the first wife. The only thing that Korean womb did was cultivate a seed. Isn't that interesting? Crazy. They raped and pillaged for 1,000 years in Korea. They're still paying Korean reparations. So, to this day. Question? Any questions? Moving on. Okay.